Hello, gang. Sorry. You're not there, yeah. I'm having a bit of a nightmare. Don't throw energy drinks at Sleepy Lucy. I mean, that's the best thing, the best time to throw energy drinks at me. Hi there. Yeah, I have been playing with emulators and faffing around with my computer, so I think that might have confused it, and it didn't like my webcam for a second. Hi there, everybody. Let's play some video juego. What are you, Pepsi dog? The dog of Pepsi. But yes, hi everybody. Hi there, Catboy Steph, Rye, Lav, Saint Just, Tom, Silk. Now I am too a catboy. Let's play some video juego. Pepsi dog yaps, but we do not have the ears to hear. Why? Oh, I muted you. You're unmuted now. Okay. Now you should be able to hear Pepsi dog. Actually, I still didn't. Yeah, okay. I'm not.
Hello.
There we go. I wasn't getting any input from you. Good start to the stream. Technical problems abound. Been said hello to.
Hello.
Hi there, Altanzik. I will let the dog speak.
So first of all,
against my better judgment.
I want to say, Blitzball in Final Fantasy X is quote not that bad. In fact, it's good in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I think Blitzball is good, but it is also very it's a very complicated minigame. I think that can put some people off because it's almost like a game by itself.
I should really open the
Blitzball is very Marmite. Yes, you should open the chat on your computer. You should also watch the stream on your computer to contribute to my view counts. Oh, right, you bought Marmite at the store. Is this your first time trying Marmite? If so, I'm excited for you.
The standard method of eating Marmite is you take a big dollop on a spoon and eat it.
No. I strongly recommend have it on some buttered toast and put on like a small amount to begin with, and then if you like it, you can work your way up to higher doses. But do not do what they do on those like YouTube channels, which are like, oh, we got an American to try British foods, and they just make them eat like a spoonful of Marmite like it's honey or something.
Previously during
salt, it's horrible. I ate a spoonful and I wrecked.
Yeah, I ate a spoonful of mustard and I hated it.
Keep me waiting in the rain for so long.
Welcome to Greenville. I'm the sheriff, George Woodman. Call me George.
There's definitely something in.
Yeah, we saw all this last time. We don't need to watch this again. The tiniest cocktail. You can get enough to go into a teaspoon and then spread that over like 2 slices of buttered toast, I would say, is a good introduction to it. And be ready for it to be like quite sort of salty and very like savory. Where's my fucking car? Do you remember where I parked? I do not remember where I parked. Last stream.
I'm also just remembering how we went the extra mile to make sure you ended up on a spot where you could do some side stuff after.
Yeah, and then I haven't.
In the 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, in the 2 weeks that have.
Yeah.
What's my fucking car?
They won't.
You can't just nick cars. Like, I am a police officer, but... Oh, we're outside the police station. Maybe I can just borrow another. This is the police station.
There's police cars.
Yes. Nice. Yes, I hope you're all doing well. I hope you've all had a good time. Oh, this is my car. It's out of petrol already. Oh, that's useful. The ability to bring the map up. Doing great. I've been playing Resident Evil 4. Yeah, turns out that's one hell of a game.
Zach, we can take a rest if you're tired.
Oh, that no.
That's all
movie
he had
chat.
to say to Zach is, take it easy, pal. Hi there, Stray Cat Rock. These some real big rigs ass engine noises. Every time we play this game, I forget the controls for the car. Yeah, no, as much as I like the Resident Evil 4 remake, I think the original's just so sort of pure and clean. Yeah, it's just an all-timer. Been playing the Mean of the Hollower. I never really played Shovel Knight, so I don't really know. They're not really my kind of games. I'm not hugely into like difficult platformy, quite like those kind of games. I guess I kind of like Castlevania, but. Resident Evil 4 is good, but it would have been better if Leon had to drive 20 minutes on a featureless road between every level. I just started Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Ooh, nice. I really liked Rebirth. I think it's kind of padded with a lot of content that doesn't necessarily like edify the game, but it hit at the exact right time where I was like, you know what I want to do right now? I want to hang out with all the characters that I love from Final Fantasy, and the game lets you do that. I really liked the minigame in that one, Queen's Blood. I think like my best score in a game of Queen's Blood was like 60 points or something. Oh no, maybe like 90. Did he not want to turn the lights on before before coming here to type up his notes?
Let's go back over our progress. First, the
Typewriter, brand typewriter.
She was found hanging from a tree in the forest. She was cut open with a knife from her chest down to her stomach.
Cut her open with a knife.
Cause of death. The strangulation marks and skull fracture were caused after death. Her tongue is also bit off, and I found something inside her mouth. Do you remember what that was, Zach?
It was a red seed?
That's right. We found
Yeah.
a small red seed in her mouth. According to Emily, it was raining when Anna was killed, but traces of tears were still evident on her face.
How did they figure that one out?
Which means the perpetrator killed Anna under a roof in the lumber mill, and then carried her body into the woods. after
She was crying. That means she was killed in the
found
lumber mill.
numerous important pieces of evidence at the site of the crime. A total of 4 things. Knee prints in the grass. A wood chip with metal dust.
A wood chip.
A photo of a man with a tattoo on his back and One other thing. Do you remember what that was, Zach?
A broken stiletto heel.
That's right. A broken stiletto heel. Aligning this with the other evidence suggests that two people came into contact with Anna's body.
When are they going to recruit me to the FBI?
Those being the perpetrator who killed Anna and Miss Stiletto Heel. There is also the possibility that a third party carried Anna to the woods. That means we could be dealing with 3 people. 2 or 3 people. In any case, Miss Stiletto Heel may have vital information. We need to
Miss
find her
Stiletto
next.
heel.
We didn't use forensic methods, but we're still closing in on the criminal.
Agent Dr. Merle T. Femboy, PhD, Esquire. I love that Esquire is one of those, like, titles that doesn't mean anything, so you can technically, like, anyone can call themselves that.
Marks on her hand tell us that Anna was gripping something when she died. Do you remember that, Zach? What do you think she was holding on to?
Oh, fuck knows. Round object?
That's right. A round object.
A round
Marks
object.
on her hand suggested peace mark. The man in the photo found in the woods had a tattoo.
Merle is an E-Squire trying to become an E-Knight.
These two could well be related. But we don't know
Get behind
for
me,
sure.
trans women. I'll protect you.
Next,
I'm the
there are
E-Knight.
A few are worthy of special attention. Carol McLean, the singer and bar owner. She's Thomas's sister. Then there's Nick Cormack. the
I'm
owner
an
of-
email.
Both of them seem to be hiding something.
I like that.
There's Diane, the owner of the art gallery, who's out of town. Then we have problematic, old, rich, and eccentric Harry.
What's problematic about him?
Wreck. Well, we just have to go one by one. I've been thinking, one of the biggest rewards here is the fantastic food. Enjoying food is cultural, and yet it's also a bit uncivilized.
What are you
It's interesting
talking
how
about,
good
man?
food motivates me to work harder during investigations. Oh, and on Emily's back, it was strange to me. Hey, don't take that the wrong way, Zach. I wasn't getting all excited or anything. But it
I didn't say
made me
anything, pal.
feel strange. Nostalgic and sad almost. It's starting to rain. I think this case may take a while.
Ellie! Lunchtime, Ellie! I'll eat later.
Oh yes, director's cut.
Eat right now, young lady.
Yeah,
Young
this-
lady.
yeah.
Listen to your mother.
I want to hear the rest of the story.
Eat your lunch. Then take a nap. Then I'll tell you the rest.
But I want to hear it now.
There's no need to rush things. You must live your life at the pace that is right for you.
Honey, are you coming?
Well, I'm glad we got that additional scene. Thank you, Swery. Like burning a magnesium ribbon in the fireplace. Why does this car sound like that? 114 enemies defeated. I've got nearly 8 grand. Oh, nice. Episode 1. We've cleared episode fucking 1. This is like, what, the 3rd stream I've done of this game, and I've just cleared episode 1.
Ooh.
Strap in. Ah, good, yes. Back to the red room.
Are you thirsty?
You must be very thirsty.
You only take milk with your coffee?
Coffee with milk. That's all.
I sometimes have it black. There's your new sound alerts for a follow and a sub. You must be very thirsty.
Who are you?
My name is Becky.
Did we speak to her
What are you
already?
doing here?
My name is Becky.
I think not. I think
Honest
she's someone that
friend?
shows up later. Yeah.
Right.
My name is Becky.
Alright, I got it, love.
After your throat is quenched, you must do what you must do.
Take a sip of coffee and go.
My name is Becky.
Huh?
Doesn't she look a lot like Laura Palmer? Ooh, a chocolate chip cookie. I won't say no. Another lollipop. Guess I'll be on my merry way. Chocolate chip cookie still warm from being sat on. Blech. Yuck. All the chocolate chips would melt. Ah, you see, he didn't copy Twin Peaks, because look, now we're in a white room. It's not a red room anymore.
That's me. That's me when it happened.
Oh, and you were kicked in the head by a horse. Country ham. Country ham will satisfy a moderate amount of your hunger.
Always saying this.
Zach, this case looks like
Straight
it's
out of
directly
bed
related
and
to us.
immediately light up a dart.
I do not know how yet, but I do know I need some coffee. George said he'd have someone pick us up in the parking lot. Let's get some breakfast with Polly first.
Oh yeah, I'm dressed like an absolute fucking weapon. Is my suit finished dry cleaning? My good one. It's looking a bit dirty. Right, send that for dry cleaning. $8. Is that good or bad? I don't remember how much dry cleaning costs. Yeah, and I've got to not shave, so I've got to get a nice beard on. Light up a dart.
There.
Translator's note, Merlus English.
Did you need something?
No, I was just passing by. I didn't think anybody else was here other than Polly. The door opening like that it surprised me, that's all.
Forrest Kaysen, the sapling salesman. Yeah, it's Peter Griffin.
I'm Kaysen, Forrest Kaysen.
Yeah, Peter Griffin
Nice
and
to meet you.
Gabe
I
Newell's love
travel a
child.
lot, you see, selling tree saplings. Just the usual salesman doing the usual road trip. Sometimes I feel, I don't know, like a jolly old bumblebee spreading pollen.
FBI Special Agent Francis York Morgan.
I get it. You're the special agent Scarface that everyone's yakking about. Nice to meet you, Francis.
Special Agent Scarface? I'd need a bigger scar to live up to that name.
Well, no, you only need a
That's
scar
what
on your face, actually.
You got it. York.
Is this your first visit here, then?
No, sir. Actually, I've been coming here once or twice a year for, a while now. I don't get much business here, but it sure does make a fine vacation. I mean, it's a gorgeous hotel at a bargain price. It's so relaxing in these parts, too. Oh, I just love all the nature. I feel so relaxed here.
It's relaxing. I feel so relaxed. Did I mention how relaxing it is?
Say hi to Willie. Oh, don't worry, he's a good boy. Do you like dogs?
Hey, Willie. How are you doing?
When he points at him.
He's pretty smart, too. Oops, before I forget, let me give you this. It's just a sample of what I sell.
Thank you. How kind of you.
So, what brings the old FBI out here? Sounds like more than just a vacation.
A murder, actually. The perpetrator is still out there. Try to stay indoors at night and during the rain. We want to prevent it from happening again, okay?
Oh, it's a darn shame. Places like this used to be the safest in America.
Could I ask you something? Do you know a lot about seeds?
Seeds? Gardening, huh? You don't look like a green thumb, but let me tell you though. I'm pretty much the only one who can make those saplings sprout. There's a trick to it that can't really be passed on, you know? It's like, the secret of making a good smoked ham.
Why does he sound like quieter
But,
suddenly?
Once they sprout, you don't
Camera
need to do
further away.
much.
Yeah, the camera like
Big
wasn't pointed at
It'll
him.
turn into a big tree no matter what happens. Kind of like those stocks that politicians buy that just keep growing and growing. Well, you just wait and see. This town is gonna love them. Right. We were just about to go take a morning stroll, so I'll get going. Good luck now with that case.
Thanks.
Zach, do you remember what the coffee said? Forrest Kaysen. F.K.
This show has just begun.
I forgot that York literally like points out that like, yeah, the coffee signposted this guy to me. How do I... I'm lost again. This fucking hotel. Oh shit, I need to go and get... How do I get to the... The hotel's layout is actually stressing me out. How do I get to the fucking dining room? Well, I missed fucking breakfast.
Morgan, did you sleep well?
Morning, George. Dreamland was quite nice.
You do look well rested. Oh, I was up practically all night doing paperwork. Thomas helped me out, so I was able to go home and get some sleep, but not enough.
Diane got back into town late last night. We should give her a visit.
Which means going to the art gallery, correct?
She lives and works in the office there, so it's the only place to find her. The gallery is open from 10 to 1700.
Time for some art appreciation. A cultural.
Why is he smiling like that?
Countryside town. Amazing, Zach.
Also, there's no need to be such an arse about it. Like, yeah, it's a small town, but... Oh, fucking okay then. You can't just stand by the car for 5 fucking seconds while I go and get that medal.
The gallery is called Muses Gallery. The Muses were the 9 daughters of the goddess of memory in Greek mythology.
Ah, it's just like Diane to name it that way.
Is she that intelligent a woman?
Oh, maybe. You'll see for yourself soon enough.
Did you see how Emily reacted, Zach? I sensed that this Diane...
York, I'm still back here. I can still hear you.
I can't wait to meet her.
The gallery is on the north side of town. Take the road along the lake and go north.
Right. We're gonna need to stop for petrol at some point, because I don't have much. Hang on, which way is north? Like, it's the direction of the blue arrow, right?
An art gallery in such a small town. Am I prejudiced to think that it doesn't seem to fit?
Greenvale and every small town has every right to enjoy art.
That's right. Small towns tend to be full of highly cultured people. Although I can't say I've ever been to the gallery myself.
George, what about you? Are you into art?
Actually, yes. I like going to the gallery. It's very relaxing there.
Really, George? I never knew that about you for all this time.
Emily, please. I'm just as cultured as everyone else.
Some people just have sides to them that you'd never expect. By the way, about Diane in the gallery. Is she the type that isn't very appreciated by other women?
Well, what do you mean?
Exactly what it sounds like, Emily. Is she very attractive, especially to the opposite sex?
So you're asking if she's sexy, right?
Well, she does always wear high heels.
And definitely...
Jesus Christ, man.
Hard to explain.
But that doesn't make me biased, okay? She just seems to look down on people. She always has. I just don't like people like that.
That must be
You can't see it because me and Pepsi Dog are in the way, but I am like... We've only got like 39% petrol left.
You just reacted so strongly to Diane's name.
I did not. It's like you're suggesting I'm the total opposite of her. Is that it?
Oh, Emily, that's not what anyone is suggesting. Let's just drop this conversation, okay?
York don't got internet. Right. We need to fucking... Where can I stop for... Like, there's got to be a gas station. That's the milk barn. What the hell's that? Come on, there's got to be a fucking gas station in this jerkwater burg. I guess not. Take the road. Well, we'll just see what happens when I run out of petrol. Hey, you like that one, Don? I've been to some real one-horse towns that still had art galleries. I mean, you know, sometimes you want to build them out there because, like,
we're wanting to create an army of transgenders because we're crazy.
Drives tourism. Thank you for subscribing, Ellie, for 27 months in a row. Incredible streak. Thank you very much. Shinji Mikami never made a game with tension like this. Well, you know, I hate to sound like like an old dad, but like I am looking at the petrol, the petrol gauge, and I miss breakfast as well. I'm livid. You know, I kind of like being inside the car because it makes me feel warmer. But it's not very conducive to actually driving.
I wonder if Diane has anything to do with the murder.
Diane moves on a whim and acts on impulse. We don't want her leaving town, so shut up and let's get to the gallery.
What do you mean, shut up?
Shut up.
Shut up! you shut up! Don't tell Emily to shut up. You shut up, George. Anyway, I gotta get the hell out of here. Where's the bathroom? Yes. There are like 3 tracks in this game.
More like an old mansion than an art gallery.
Diane liked the building so much she turned it into an art gallery.
She left the exterior untouched and had the insides redone.
So she's rich.
She bought this place, didn't she? Does that answer your question?
Indeed it does.
Well, I'm not a realtor, so I don't really know how much the place cost.
Emily, I want to talk with Diane alone. Will you wait here for me?
Don't tell me you still don't trust us.
No, that's not it. But this is very important to me. I always make sure that I meet with the important ones, one-on-one. Otherwise, it's difficult to sense the subtle reactions of the suspect. This is just how I do
Sure,
things,
whatever.
and I'd appreciate your understanding.
Once again, I've driven them out to the middle of fucking nowhere just to tell them to wait in the car.
Go on then. You're not going to listen to us anyway, are you?
You're starting to understand me, George.
They look so sad.
Well, then, Zach, let's go and meet Lady Diane.
Let's go and meet the people's princess. Popular fish in Greenvale. Smallmouth bass. What do you think's the most popular fish in your town?
What, to eat?
Hello?
Yeah, that's what it said, that smallmouth bass is a popular fish in Greenvale.
Probably, you know, fish and chips.
Yeah. Haddock.
And maybe.
No reply. Let's take a look around then, Zach.
Take a shot every time it feels like George wants to slap York. I think he just wants to kneel on his chest and pummel him, honestly. Why is he so shiny?
Hello, Olivia. Do you like art?
Yes. Yes, I do. Well, I
mean, well, what else would you be doing at the art
I
gallery?
like trees.
Trees. Okay. Ah, but I see because these are all tree paintings. Do you come here often then?
Well, no. Just sometimes. I'm sorry, I really need to get back to the diner.
Her forehead is brighter than the fire.
She said trees, not paintings of trees. She doesn't need to come here to see trees. There's tons of trees outside.
A clue. Trees at twilight, a beautiful painting of 6 trees bathed in a sunset glow. Yeah. Ceci n'est pas un tree. Key to the gallery. Nice. Did I actually go in the room she came out of? Probably.
The moment I would have framed it was quite nice, and then you turned and it lowered again.
Probably shouldn't try to get in here. Why not?
You know, it wouldn't be allowed.
Look at the doorknobs. Just like giant tin cans. Mm-hmm. I do like that, yeah, when I wheel the camera around, the frame rate takes a real stuff. Who builds a little courtyard like this? Uh-huh. She doesn't need to see the Mona Lisa. There's tons of women outside. Yeah, that kind of vibe. Red butterflies frolicking. Hmm. I feel like I've taken a wrong turning. Hmm. I'm glad we got like all of, 10 minutes of story and now it's back to this. Oh, fucking, I don't know.
Zach, something is still missing. We need more clues.
I need a clue as to what the, Let's have a look at Olivia's memo and arrange the red trees in alphabetical order. What? Tree at sunset, red leaves, dancing butterflies. Oh, tree at sunset. There were 6 trees. I need to go and find the red leaves painting and then the frolicking butterflies or whatever. Oh, hang on. Well, the butterfly painting wasn't there. So presumably that's like 0? Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna try and brute force it. Right, there were 6 things in the 610. Oh, right. Okay, whatever. I actually might need to go and look for the paintings. Mm-hmm. Good stuff. Ooh. Ah, yeah, I want that. Doo-doo-doo. Smoked salmon.
popular is it? Did they say?
No word on how popular it is. Okay.
Have you tried 238 for the code?
238. A large tree and red butterflies. It almost looks as if it's burning. Okay, but like... how does this help me? Wait a sec, he said put the things in... As to the office, number of red trees from the special exhibition room. Oh, okay. Right, trees at sunset is 6. Then dancing red butterflies is 1. I could probably brute force it now. 6 something 1. What room is this in the museum?
The archives, I guess. Those I know those sort of like.
Oh yeah, there's like
things.
sliding doors,
Yeah.
sliding
shelving like
yeah.
units.
Right. Could brute force it by blue. The missing number is 4. Am I not going to be able to find the clue? Is there no clue? Do I have to brute force? Smoked salmon, old enough to be preserved in museums. Seems like a tasty for... Well, yeah, it was like that other one I found in the lumber mill, which was like abandoned. Right, that is 6 trees, for sure. His heart rate is going up whenever I'm running. Well, okay then. Ooh, frame rate dip. Oh, here's the other painting. 4 trees. It was indeed 4, Dom. Did you look that up? Or do you just have an encyclopedic knowledge of this game? It's not exactly Resident Evil 4, is it? in its puzzle complexity. Those footprints, those footsteps, did not match up to his walking.
I'm taking it with me, okay?
That's fine by me then, as you wish. The FBI, right? Just wait a moment, please.
Why does he put his hands up like that?
So there's no way you could have been at the scene of the crime.
That's right. I was drinking at the bar with Nick until early morning. I'm sure if you ask him about it, he'll say the same.
Okay, but why would I trust Nick?
Very well. I'll be sure to do that. One other thing. That argument with Carol just now.
She's always like that. She thinks of me as an enemy, always bickering at what I say.
Is there any reason for that?
Perhaps because someone she liked ended up with me in my bed?
That would explain it, yes. If I may be so bold,
yes.
Who was the lucky man?
Oh, I sleep with anyone I wish. Anyone I prefer to sleep with.
It's not what I asked.
I guess she had her eye on one of them.
but I don't know who it was exactly. I could sleep with you, if you like.
I'm flattered by your offer, but I don't think that would be appropriate. You're exactly the kind of woman a man in my job should never get involved with.
Isn't that a shame, darling?
I think it would have been funnier if he'd have just like pretended he didn't know what she was talking about, and he was like, "Nah, I'm alright. I was well rested last night, actually."
Right now, you are not a suspect, but both Zach and I are certainly feeling shaky about you. If you want to remain in the clear, just watch yourself from now on.
Oh,
You watch yourself,
you don't
alright?
know, do you? Artists and art lovers, we love a good thrill.
Thank you for your help. I have nothing further to ask you at the moment. Goodbye.
Right, how much did I get paid for that little jolly? Not bad. Nice little earner. Katsuobushi does have a long shelf life, yes, but you also can't just, like, eat it. I'm sure glad you made the others stay out in the rain. They would have really got in the way. Yeah, they'd have really beefed that one for me. Thomas Biscuit. A biscuit baked by Thomas.
I had a chat with Diane. She said she was at the bar drinking with Nick at the time of the murder. We need to confirm her story. Let's talk to Nick at the diner.
Very well, Agent Morgan. I have to head back to the department and clear up some paperwork. Go with Emily to the A&G diner.
Okay then.
I'll show you the way. The diner's open from 9 to 2100.
Nice.
Just as we suspected, Zach. Diane is the key to this case.
Can we stop off at a gas station?
Right to the crib.
That's Kaysen. Looks like the show has just begun, and it has an all-star cast.
What room is that? Ooh. Emily's car is a private one. Oh. I was kind of hoping we could use your car, Emily, because mine's...
I was hoping I could drive your car.
Yeah, mine's kind of running out of gas. Does it make a difference, like, which car I get in? Like, if I get in this one...
Emily, do you know a man named Forrest Kaysen?
Kaysen? Yes, I know him. The sapling salesman, right? He always uses strange comparisons when he talks.
I'd like to know more about him. What does he do when he comes to town?
He's a salesman, so I guess he sells things? Maybe he comes on vacation. We haven't seen many tourists recently, but he comes pretty often.
Is that all?
Well, now that you mention it, he seems quite friendly with the Ingrams, with Isaac and Isaiah. Maybe you should ask them about Kaysen.
Okay, I will.
Okay, I will. Oh yeah, this one's got full petrol. Nice. Well, just in case, we're to drive back by this road. Gone past a gas station. Is there a fucking gas station anywhere? I feel like there should be. Yeah, that's seems like a nice, easy route. Route already. Wait, what? Me. Lost. Okay, right. We go out here. Yeah, get onto this main road, and then it's pretty much a straight shot. Yeah. Got it. If any of you have ever heard of a YouTube channel called Kiwami Japan, he made a knife out of katsuobushi because it's so hard. You can like sharpen it. I love that channel so much.
Emily, don't you find it a bit suffocating to be around George so much?
Well, we aren't always together. And anyway, I've gotten used to him.
Impressive. Women are
Very
adaptable.
No, it's not like that, actually. George is hard-headed, sure, but he's also a hard-working man. That's why the townsfolk trust him so much.
The very epitome of the rural sheriff.
That's right. He isn't some hotshot FBI agent. This place isn't like the city. Everyone knows everyone else.
What about you and Anna? Were you too close?
No, not close, really. I don't seem to have much in common with teenagers nowadays. All they talk about are boys, clothes, and accessories. I don't have much
Well, how do you know that's true if you don't
like
talk to them?
Being in your 20s.
Everyone's different, that's all. Me and you too.
Zach, I'm not liking the way this conversation is heading. Let's concentrate on driving instead.
But yes, no, Kiwami Japan is the guy that made like crazier and crazier knives, and he hasn't posted in ages. I wanted to tweet at him and ask him to make a cum knife, but I don't think he's tweeted in a while either. I'm lost again. Okay, yeah. Follow the road. You gonna say something?
Oh. No,
nothing to say. Compliments on my driving.
No, you're doing great. No, all I said was okay in response to that conversation. Where,
Oh right, yeah.
You know, there's some differences between you and I, Jorg. Whoa, this is a scary conversation. I better stop talking.
I don't like where this conversation's going. Oh, it's marked a gas station on my... That was such an unassuming way of announcing that knife making. Yeah. What, that I wanted him to make a cum knife? I still do, by the way. Want him to make that knife.
I'll go a little faster.
Yeah.
Got to 55.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, you know... It's still not, like, breakneck speeds. 55 miles an hour is pretty fast to be driving along, like, country roads like this.
I don't know. A completely empty road, I'd take it up to 70. Like a completely straight road.
Well, you know, now we can see picket fences, so...
I don't know what American speed limits are for roads like this.
I don't want to imagine the part of the video where he'd film himself collecting the necessary materials.
I think in the UK this would be like a 60 mile an hour. Well, not this one, but you're in town.
Yeah, now we're...
But like on a country road with single carriage, it would be like 60 mile an hour speed limit by national
Yeah.
speed limits.
Whoa! Drive into the giant, like, thing of light. I gotta know.
A&G Diner.
Yeah, I was gonna ask the same
Wonder
question,
what the
man.
A and G stand for. Any ideas, Emily?
Nope, I don't know either.
Air and gravity, perhaps? Access and games? Aliens and Godzilla? Who knows?
Is it important to know? I mean, why don't you just ask Nick?
Oh, I will. But first, I need to eat. Wonder what's good here.
close the door behind you. Wait in the car for me, would you, Emily?
Yeah, I gotta be alone when I eat my
Welcome,
turkey
Mr.
sandwich.
Hi, Olivia. Let me have your special for today. And some fresh coffee.
Our special today is turkey. A turkey and gravy sandwich. Sound good?
Oh, perfect. Emily, you eat something too. It'll be on the FBI.
Okay then, I'll go all out. I'll have the T-bone steak. I usually
Well,
can't do it
okay.
Because it's a little too expensive.
Yes.
It's usually considered a
look
little
who it
bit
is.
gauche to actually do that, Emily.
Mrs. Olivia Cormack.
Okay.
I am here for Mr. Stewart's lunch. If it is ready, I'd thank you a bunch.
Yes, of course.
He
Just a
says that
moment.
every day. Or does he come up with a new rhyme
go.
each day?
Yeah, new
Okay.
rhymes. He always just talks in
One
rhymes.
Turkey, strawberry jam, and cereal sandwich.
Oh, it's
Sounds
so
like the
wacky.
sinner's sandwich. Self-inflicted punishment to atone for past sins. He's setting an example.
I mean, I could think of what,
Mr.
like,
Francis York Morgan,
it's just kind of
you should try
weird.
this wonderful lunch. It's more than a delicious, tasty crunch. So says Mr. Stewart.
No, that's fine. I've just ordered
Like a
my
punishment
own lunch.
sandwich would be like Reebok. Dirt.
The Mokujiki special.
Yeah.
Mr. Francis York Morgan, I, that is, Mr. Stewart's order is delicious, I should mention. And Mr. Nick Cormack is a genius for creating this perfection. So says Mr. Stewart.
So says
Still,
Mr. Stewart.
I have
You
a
and your
hunch
little
I
beard
might
you have
not
now.
like it.
Why is he like rocking backwards
You
and
sure that
forwards
sandwich
like
is that
this?
good?
Stimming.
He's stimming. Yeah. Also, Mr. Stewart has like vents
Mr.
on his neck
Francis
and a
York
gas
Morgan.
mask.
Making decisions based on intuitions is always a sign of bad FBI agents. So says Mr. Stewart.
Harry, you're right. I'll give it a try.
Yeah, okay, you twisted my arm.
Oh, it goes on top like that?
Yeah, what is it again?
Like cereal, like salad and jam.
I can't believe it. This is fantastic. It's really good. Olivia, I'm sorry, but can I change my order? I'll have what Harry is having.
Why is it fun suddenly fucking playing like some interstitial music from like Rocket Power or something? Yeah, was that a deep cut?
Nick and Diane. They hardly make the perfect couple, do they? Is it
Jesus
widely known
Christ,
that they go
man.
drinking together, just the two of them?
To be honest, I don't pay attention to these things.
Not into local gossip?
Well, when I moved here, I was still in high school, and I kept wearing the same wild clothes from my school in Seattle. I was young back then. And before I knew it, there were rumors all over the school. She'll screw anyone. That's what they said. Totally unfounded, of course. Anyway,
Oh, of course.
After that, I just sort of chose not to really trust gossip.
Yeah, right. So if
I
I
get
was
where you're
if I
coming
was
from.
rich, I'd have a visual K twink
I used to dress
around
like
me
a
at all
hardcore
times.
punk rocker when I was in high school.
You? A punk rocker?
Nobody took my side, even when I had good grades. People rejected me just because of what I wore. I was young back then, too.
You were young in high
Still,
school?
I
No
just
way.
don't see you as a punk rocker.
And you laugh? Look at you. No makeup on.
Yeah,
dressed in
you know.
uniform, eating a steak
What?
for lunch.
Her forehead keeps getting like hundreds of
Okay,
wrinkles in it.
Back to work. Let's talk to Nick.
You're so wacky too. You don't wear makeup and you wear your uniform when you're at lunch from work.
Yeah,
And you
given
eat
that you've had
steak,
literally
so
no
shows what
chance
you
to
know.
change out of it. Yeah, you had a fucking T-bone steak for lunch. Yo, Nick. How's it collapsing? Oh, we don't get voice acting on this one, I guess. You think Diane did it? You're wrong. Tongue. I could tell you were lying by the way your tongue moved.
You moved your tongue while you talked, you freak.
Okay.
Myself in.
Hey, I'm working here. You can't just.
Oh, this
stroll
gets
into a
voice
chef's
acted.
kitchen.
Then perhaps you would give me your permission to enter.
No, get the hell out of here.
Hell out of here, York.
Get the hell out of
Zach,
here.
everyone has their own sanctuary. Let's leave him in his.
But there's blue things back there that I want to like. Or whatever. Right. Well, I'm done here, Emily. It could be in cahoots.
There's something I'd like to confirm with you, Olivia, if that's okay.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, he is being
so long
completely
as it doesn't
reasonable.
take
You
too
can't
long.
just stroll into the kitchen.
First, what were you and Nick doing on the night of the murder?
I was here in the diner. Nick said he was going to the bar for a couple of drinks.
Does he go to the bar often?
I think he taps his
Leaving you to
tie
hold up
whenever
the
he's
fort?
thinking.
Yes. He says he enjoys the conversation with Diane. I thought they went drinking again together that night.
Do the three of you ever go drinking together?
Well, you see, I'm really not into art.
And your husband is well versed
You
in
doing
the
it
arts,
the-
then I take it.
Art gallery.
Oh, yes. Looking at art and talking about it is his way of relaxing.
People just aren't what they seem. Like a certain someone who was into punk rock 10 years ago.
You are absolutely right, Emily. But you can be an art lover and a liar at the same time. One more thing. You just said that you aren't interested in art.
That's right. And
So, how come I bumped into you at the art gallery? Didn't seem like Nick brought you there. You were there alone.
well, I like trees, is the thing. That's why I went there.
Surely you'd be better off in the forest rather than an art gallery then.
I don't know if you noticed this, York, but the
I think
art
you went
gallery
to the
was sort
gallery
of in the
not
middle
to
of a
see
forest.
trees, but to see Diane, right? You don't want to answer? Or perhaps this isn't the right place to ask.
Meet me in the backyard. You can get there from the parking lot. I'll wait for you there for an hour after we close up.
Boing.
What? Why did she give me a key?
Key to the backyard.
They close at 2100. Should we get something to drink and wait?
Yeah, like midday.
Yeah.
You just had lunch. It's like, all right, let's just wait around until 9 p.m. Some job. Drink a root beer.
I
look
mean,
out the
like, you know,
window.
when I was a kid, like, I did think that like being a detective would be a really cool job because yeah, you get to do like stakeouts where you just sit in your car, like eat snacks. I was like, that'd be great, just sitting in a car for like, you know,
Don't let you bring your
9
Nintendo
hours.
DS though, because you're meant to be
radio.
looking out the window. So
Yeah, we'd take it in
Bored.
shifts, pass the
Agent
PSP
York,
back and
what do
forth.
we do now?
I want to hear what Olivia has to say. Let's kill time until the diner closes.
Okay, then I'm gonna make a trip back to the department. I'll see you in the backyard later.
Okay, sounds good.
See you later then.
Zach, about Olivia. I presume she wants to tell us something about Nick and Diane. Let's hope it's not just something for the gossip columns.
Something for the gossip column. Oh, fuck me. We've got
Right.
a long time. I could smoke a dart. That takes you time. But what
Take
I
on
think...
some side quests.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I was thinking. Now, I believe... I go to the milk barn. I don't know where that is. That's, you know...
First obstacle.
Yeah, first obstacle. I think it's not a million miles away, but you can get a... What are you laughing at? Oh, I thought you were laughing.
No.
Me? Wesley the gunsmith. Milk barn, right, there it is.
Down the main.
Yeah, perfect. I think we can go there and we can get like a... There's like a paranormal map, I think it's called. And that lets you get a machine gun. Very useful. It is very funny that, like, yeah, this, like, Japanese game developer in trying to create a game set in, like, you know, set in America was like, oh yeah, you can get, like, there it is. Yeah, you can just go and buy a map to a machine gun from the fucking grocery store.
Zach, don't you think there are a lot of good-looking women in this town?
Jesus, man, keep it in your fucking pants.
My man.
Prom queen? Elizabeth Scott Moore. She could be royalty with a name like that.
But
you know,
Moore is much of a royal name.
she was like an actress from a B movie, wasn't she?
Like an actress from a
Blonde
shit
hair,
movie.
Too much makeup. Clothes showing
It was
off
Carol.
cleavage, and that mole by her mouth.
Say, Zach, were you with me back then?
You know,
I'm not
that
with you
mole
right
was made
now,
of makeup.
pal. You're on your own on
We
this
used to be
one.
on the same bus once. I saw her drawing it on with makeup. I wasn't surprised, I guess. Just impressed that she would go that far to create that image. Do you remember that movie we went to go see that day? I'll give you a hint. It was the fourth in a popular series, and was produced by Menahem Golan's Canon Films.
Figured it out, Zach?
Think it over, Dave. Call it your homework until next time.
Right.
Alien Resurrection.
Alien Resurrection. Classics of cinema. I like Alien Resurrection, but it is like very much, it's a film I like not because it's like an alien film, but because it's just a very funny, like, campy, like, sci-fi movie. Why do I keep doing that? Barge into the milk barn. I think this is where I get the treasure map.
Tomato sauce.
Long live the guitar!
Oh, side mission.
Hi.
Hi.
What have you got for me to buy? Ooh.
Cherry blossom.
9
Got
grand.
sex appeal.
Sickle. Bar. Bullets. You have the map. Country ham.
Near a minute. Out these.
A fishing rod. Right, well, I want the suit.
Whoa.
Hell yeah.
I thought it was a side quest to get the infinite. Go do some research.
I thought it was you buy, like... Oh, it might be about buy it from Keith over here. Hey, Keith.
Hey, bro.
Oh, another suit. Deep blue. Spiritual map A.
Uh-huh.
Can you check for me whether that's the one that...
Spiritual map A from Keith Barn and complete the associated side quest.
Right.
Hey man, the spot on the map is called Cope's Tunnel. It's one of a couple of places in town
I went
where,
to Cope's Tunnel and everyone knew
spooky
you.
stuff happens. I'll tell you a story, okay, man? But
Okay, man.
don't go spreading it around. The spirits, they don't like publicity.
Bit scary, like. Whoa.
Back when this place was a lumber kingdom, you know, the rockin' 80s.
The rockin'
tunnel was
80s.
the main connection from the lumber yard to this town. Every day, huge trailers would like come in and out. Lots of traffic, dude. Of course, some people were like all up in arms. Save our nature, stop pollution, you know. Big business was pushing in here from all over the US of A. Everyone was bickering over the forest. So some of the town people got even more worked up, you know? They started a protest inside the tunnel itself. I guess maybe that was the start of all the bad times.
Bad times.
Oh yeah, man. Rough stuff and heavy times, man. The conservationists and the lumber workers faced off with each other. Neither side was backing down, and that made things worse. Amid all this chaos, there was a man and a woman who got engaged. Problem was that the man was a lumberjack, and the woman, she was a tree hugger. They rarely ever fought, but then, one
she was a
morning,
tree.
they had a lover's quarrel. People think that her love of nature clashed with his profession.
Yeah.
But we'll never
He was a
know
lumberjack,
what they really
and
were
she was a
fighting about
tree.
that morning. The man
Far
shouted,
out,
"You called
man."
her an idiot. And then he stormed out and went to work. If only he had known, that would be the last word he would ever say to her. When he finished his work for the day, he got in his car and drove home. When he got to the tunnel, he saw lantern lights glowing faintly. Those fools, not again. He just thought they were protesting in the tunnel again. And to scare them a little, he decided to speed up.
He was a lumberjack,
thought
she
they'd
was
all
a tree.
smash
Can I
when
make
he
it any
moved.
more
The
obvious?
lights didn't move. In fact, one came toward him. A second later, there was a thud, and the lantern flew up into the air. Slammed on his brakes, too late, of course. Then, totally freaked, climbed out to see what had happened. I don't need to tell you who he hit, do I? What's more, in her mangled hand,
Mangled
was a letter
hand.
to the head of the lumber mill. A peaceful settlement offer. The
When he
woman
said,
had
"I don't
no other
need to tell
relatives
you
other
who
than
he
the
hit."
man. And the lumber
Oh,
mill took no
my first thought was
responsibility for the
Princess
accident.
Diana.
It was going out of business anyways.
What happened to the
Wait,
man?
why would she be
No
out
one
of the
saw him
car?
again.
I don't know.
Some
Maybe
say
it
he
was
killed
her
himself,
car.
or simply just vanished. You know, he might still be in the tunnel.
You know, car accident,
Weeping over
tunnel,
his
and what
lost
does your
love.
mind go to?
Now, some folks say there's a ghost of a young man that haunts the tunnel. I told you it was called Cope's Tunnel, right? Well, check this out. Some people call it Corpse Tunnel now. You better be careful, Mr. FBI.
Gnarly,
You can
dude.
Go down there by yourself.
That story was a little bit undermined by like the music in the background, which is just do 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 do. Good thing there's no one in line behind me. Right, let's go to Cope's Tunnel. Psychic spot. Where is it? Oh, I love also the poster in the background there for Cocoa Gum.
Yeah.
Happy Cola. I don't want the deep blue.
The pink one now. Why would you want one?
Thanks a lot, bro.
Getting card back.
It is. What? Grekotch.
Be like a
$200
fake
dues.
guitar brand, like, or something.
Oh yeah. Bait legend worm. Right.
Go.
Do we have any alcohol? Can I have some?
What kind?
What do we have?
Any bit of you.
we have any rum?
Yeah.
Can I have rum and coke?
Okay, sure.
Make it full.
In a minute when I finish my drink.
Well, okay, sure. You know, don't let me rush you. How the fuck do we get to? Aha! Right. God, it seems quite. Right, if we go over the river, take a.
I want you to do this in no more references for a minute.
Okay, I'll try. I'll have a rum and coke too, Dom says. So just, you know, pitch it out the window hard as you can, pick a direction. Right, I had to go over the river.
To recap, the movie was the fourth sequel in a series that started in 1978. That's right, Zach. It was Superman 4, The Quest for Peace.
The Quest for Peace.
It was played by Gene Hackman. That alone made it a must for all us fans. I don't remember much more about it.
Here we go.
I'm sure there was more trivia about it.
Oh, I'm sure there's more to know about that movie.
Richard Donner directing 1 and 2. Now those two.
Yeah, forget 4. It was shite.
Christopher Reeve really shined as Superman. Actually, Zach, I've got a confession to make. Promise not to tell anyone because I'd be really embarrassed. I actually like the first 2 Superman movies more than the first 2 Star Wars movies.
Okay.
I think John Williams did a better job of the theme song for Superman. But whenever I try to hum it, it always turns into the Star Wars song somewhere along the way.
Are we that close?
I know it's strange, Zach. I know. So, Zach, which Richard Donner film do you like the best? No need to hurry.
They're kind of
Take some time
similar.
to think it over.
They're both good theme songs, though, because you can say the thing that they're. Yeah?
You can sing the
You can sing
lyrics
the
that
name.
aren't there. Look who had to look at the map.
I'm stupid. I'm stupid. Oh, I'm glad I did though, because. Blues and twos on. We go arrest some ghosts.
They're off to search for the ghost of Princess Di in the in the tunnel in Paris.
Let's go and find out. What was the name? Oh, I can't remember the names of the.
Once you learn the truth that the royal family did it, she hands you a machine gun and says, "You know what you must do." But the dog never follows through. 'Cause he's busy.
Go and put an end to the House of Windsor.
The fucking bell in this town, so massive. How does it like reverberate through the hills? Shadowy train cards over there.
Yeah. This game makes so much more sense if you assume York is live streaming to Twitch and everyone else he talks to is in the middle of filming a bit for TikTok.
Whoa. Steady on. Got some honor for that. Nice.
Hell yeah.
Very well lit tunnel.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's just got the same lighting as being out in the open.
Almost. Right. Call it Corpse Tunnel, dude. I'll give this a shot.
Whoa! You enter your mind palace.
Exactly. I'm entering the psychic spot.
You know the card circle that all tunnels have in the middle?
Yeah.
Car theatre.
Nice shot. Oh. What is this? Ooh, 10mm. Yeah, I could actually use this for a little bit.
Yeah, since you won't need it after this.
Well, let's save it until I need it. I think this has like 3 layers to it, and you get progressively harder enemies. I could be just completely... Right.
What mini game would you add to Deadly Premonition instead of all these like just dungeons?
We shouldn't go any further.
Does that? Which is the? Okay.
Huh?
I don't know which was the right answer there. They were all sort of.
Yeah. What?
No problem, or let's stay together.
What?
Oh, no problem this time.
Triple triad.
Yeah, I was thinking I'd add Blitzball and maybe recency bias. I'd have York be some kind of sports personality.
I'd add Cooking Mama style minigames.
Right, so that just kicks you out.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I thought so.
Well, how do I...
I don't know. This.
Huh? Huh? Am I just not able to do it until, like...
No, I think you are, but I think... I don't know. I swear I've seen that screen before and noted the ambiguity between...
Oh, maybe I can open this door after...
I'd also add some kind of card game, Gwent or something.
I mean, there are trading cards, so you know you'd think like a card game would be a perfect, perfect addition. First aid kit.
What do you think is your favorite like mini game in the game? It's gonna be a game.
I do like Triple Triad. Queen's Blood was pretty good in Final Fantasy Rebirth. I think like what other mini games?
It doesn't even have to be something like that. It's like a progressive one, but like just stuff like lock picking in the Fallout games or in Oblivion. You like lock picking in Oblivion?
Yeah, I like lock picking in Oblivion. Yeah. Everyone.
I still cannot fuck with Caravan in New Vegas. It's even though I've done the thing where you have to play all of the people who play Caravan, I still didn't get it by the end. I was just like, ah.
I don't want to draw. But does. Oh.
It's no Lanksnet from Pentiment, I'll tell you that much.
Well, that's like just a legit game, isn't it?
So's Caravan.
Yeah, that's true. I quite like fishing mini games in a lot of games usually.
Yeah. Trying to think what mini games I like.
I like the fishing mini game in Final Fantasy 15. You said that right. Okay. Now what?
Toolbox. In out. Ooh. Yep.
Yeah. You just go backwards and forwards in these two rooms, I think. I mean, I'm doing all of this for an infinite, like, machine gun. I don't think I even fucking need it, honestly.
Yeah. The Ratchet and Clank games had hacking minigames of varying.
Oh my god, the one on
success.
the like the orb, like the one on the globe. That you
Yeah,
have to, like,
I did not
move.
like
That
when we
is
had to
hard as
search across
fuck.
the globe because that was just like trial and error. There was one where you had like a grid of like little connectors, and they could shift between two different positions, and there were things incoming that had to fall into the right place on the connector. You had to keep on switching it between those. I liked that one. That one didn't feel like trial and error.
I liked the speechcraft minigame in
oh yeah.
in Oblivion. I might be one of the only people that liked that, both that minigame and the lockpicking, because the lockpicking in Oblivion is like, ooh, root beer. Yeah, I like 9S hacking game in Nier Automata, although it is just like the game just becomes a shmup.
I'm not sure it's popular for him, but I do like the lockpicking and the hacking in the 3D Fallout games. Like, the hacking people usually bypass by just doing the thing where they click all the brackets to get rid of all the duds, and then just clicking 2 answers, and if they don't get it,
yeah,
they just
you back
quit
out
and come back in.
Yeah.
I like to actually work it out, even though it takes ages, and it's kind of annoying, and sometimes you're not guaranteed to get a answer that can be worked out in so few guesses.
I like to compromise where I try guessing it within 3, but if I don't get it within 3, hey, this guy gonna shoot me.
Where's that gun?
Yeah.
He's lighting up his shotgun. Fuck! Oh, fucking off you there.
Maybe I should get my my machine gun out now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like to try a few guesses on the Fallout one, and then if I don't get it,
Start doing the brackets.
yeah, so go check for all the brackets and what have you.
Well, yeah, I like to do at least 1 or 2 guesses, because you sometimes get through the brackets, you get one that just finishes your allowances. So for optimum guesses, you want to at least have done a couple of guesses before you get one of those allowance replenishes.
Yeah. I have a shotgun.
In Final Fantasy VII,
Ow! Oh my god!
In Final Fantasy VII, I really like the bike minigame.
Yeah, G-bike or whatever.
Yeah. Snowboarding, I could take or leave. I didn't love snowboarding.
Yeah. Look how he carries his machine gun. Okay, where is it? Right, if I reload, probably more bullets.
Always talk about greatest minigames, and none of us brought Mog House. We should be ashamed. Do you mean Mog Story? The
Mog Story,
the arcade game at the Golden Saucer.
Mog Story is pretty good. Where's the, like, health kit? There. Mission. I wonder when you've completed this.
Oh. Hey.
Hey. A shooting gallery at the end of the Bayonetta levels. It is very. Sure.
Is that the infinite one, or
supposed to be?
Oh, I need to get that out of the toolbox.
Oh yeah, I put it in the toolbox.
I assume this just picture out back.
It might just I get it as a reward after this.
be weird for it to give you a bonus non-infinite one, just to give you an infinite one, but maybe.
Stranger things have happened in this game. Oh yeah, the Yakuza games have some great mini games because they just have like full
Sega
arcade games
yeah.
just integrated into it. Nice.
Cool.
Oh, get my toolbox. I'm probably gonna have to drive back to
hotel.
Yeah.
Maybe the police station might have the toolbox as well. I don't
remember. Yeah, it may do.
Go get lunch at the.
Yeah, I could do. Yeah, I think like Yakuza is like one of the only ways to play Spike Out. Because like, it hasn't been preserved in any other form other than just being randomly included in one of the Yakuza games.
I went to see every Richard Donner movie on the day they premiered. Every single one.
Good for you, man.
Lost Boys, the Lethal Weapon series, but my favorite has to be Lady Hawk.
Oh, you know, he's a real fucking Kino head. He's like, oh yeah, my favorite's one that no one's ever fucking...
Howard and Michelle Pfeiffer really shine in that one. But more than anything, it's the story setting that was really good. A love story about a cursed knight that changes into a wolf at night, and a cursed maiden that changes into a hawk during the day. Very romantic. Don't you think so, Zach? They can only be together at dusk, right between day and night. Together as humans for only a brief moment. Perfect setting for a fantasy movie.
Perfect setting.
I just had a thought, Zach. I really like those movies that have women changing into animals. Can you tell me?
Okay.
Well, buddy, you do you.
Stasia Kinski in the lead role. Now, that was a fantastic movie. But I better concentrate on driving. We'll finish this later.
He's getting too horny.
I better concentrate on driving. I'm gonna go to the police station because I think they should have like a weapon toolbox there for me. Like it would make sense for them to, but
well, the one thing we want to do took up 40 minutes of the 12 hours that we have to use up.
Jesus.
Sorry, not 12 hours, like 10 hours, but still.
Yeah.
I know there's another side quest that you can do which gets you the ability for Quint to drive you around so you can bypass all the driving sections.
Oh, that's pretty good. But I kind of like driving around because you get to hear York flap his fucking gums about movies. Right. Barge in through the back door. Sega have a huge catalogue of classic arcade and Mega Drive games. They keep working on modern hardware, trapped solely within Yakuza games.
Worth on getting the fastest car.
Oh yeah. How do we do that?
Need to find the general. Start doing for him.
Oh right. General. I think I know where he is. He works at the scrapyard. Is there a weapon thing here?
Check.
Not looking. I love that he can fucking shave in the kitchen.
Fucking disgusting.
Locker room. Yes, there we go.
Hey. You like?
Yeah. See, that one's like, it's red. So if I put item away, put away my that one. I can also put away all the bullets. I'm not gonna. Your toolbox is full.
Yeah, I think we have 2mm bullets.
Yeah, the red one. Pack very low.
In Pro Bullet, yeah.
Cool. Nice. Panda bear. I can just buy more. You buy a fucking saber.
Your suit jacket is like the same shade as the table. I thought York's body just disappeared in the screen. He's a floating head.
Guns are just tools for killing people. I don't like it any more than you do.
Oh, here's a sword.
Guns are just tools.
It's more artful. Change into your pink suit.
Yeah, oh yeah, don't worry. You want to hear an autistic man monologue about movies? Help me set up a stream. I will happily help you set up what's necessary for streaming, Silk. Because yeah, I'd love to. There's a bunch of games that you want to play that I'd like watch.
This is a suit with attitude. Unlike the red one, it's not just the jacket.
Yeah, this one.
And the love heart tie as well. Oh.
Yeah. Great.
People's lockers now.
Yeah, you know, why not? Right, let's go sit down and have dinner. How many missions do we need to do for the general?
3.
3.
Hello. And you need to pay him $5,000 and then you get the best.
Thomas, have you ever eaten Emily's cooking?
What?
Hey, what exactly are you asking?
I was just
guess he's
wondering
implying
what you thought
that
of her cooking, that's
he
all.
might have been over to her house.
You know, perhaps an unbiased opinion of one who is himself a fantastic chef. So how about it? Have you eaten
If
her
this is
cooking?
the
have.
imagine a
Just
woman
once.
that cooked
How
bad
was it?
Japanese
Well,
joke,
that's
like
Yeah.
and
question.
everything.
Honesty
A
is the
woman
best
who's
policy.
who's
A
bad at
woman who
cooking.
can't cook?
Ha, 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 ha.
Cut it out, Agent York.
He's pleading the fifth. He has the right to remain silent. Don't try and force him to say something. He has the right to an attorney.
George, and what are you trying to say?
Anything I say may be used in a court of law. Let's just let the topic of Emily's cooking go, okay?
I can't do that, George. I want to know. I guess it's
All right,
just
I
my
can't do that.
curiosity. So tell me, Thomas.
Well, for lack of a better word, let's just say it's Amazon-style cooking.
Ah, that was well said.
Ha 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 ha. He's bad at cooking. Ah ha ha ha.
What's going on with her waist?
The belt is like.
Oh, you were lacking words, were you? Let's get back to work.
There's a Most Wanted poster in the background. It looks like it has York's picture on it.
Well, now he's in that suit, you know.
Oh, I thought the middle one looked more like York. Who's that? Right. Good stuff. Oh yeah, I get money for checking the weather. These FBI agents paid for fucking...
Yeah, free lunch. They do nothing for
Free
10
lunch,
hours.
paid for checking the weather. Paid for shaving.
FBI covers their steak dinners.
Didn't Sweary say that Thomas was a closeted trans woman at some point?
Well, we don't want to.
He did indeed, and
that's in the text of the game.
Yeah, that we'll maybe get that far. Yeah, as Silk said, oof, ouch, oof.
Is clock correct? Oh yeah, because it does move time forward to the clock when you have lunch.
That killed some time.
Go see the general. Why not?
You
can
want
smoke a cigarette if you want and just do it in between streams.
Yeah, it's another thing I could potentially do in between streams and then just not.
Yeah, got too busy thinking about
too busy thinking about mini games.
About the pink suit.
Yeah, like there's a bunch of mini games. I really like the fishing mini game in Okami actually. That's another like all-timer mini game for me. Fucking car. I wish I could say it was the worst depiction of a trans woman in games, but I sadly can't. Yeah, it's sad that there's so many bad ones and like any good ones. This way to the gas station.
We have Nastasia Kinski in the lead role and Paul Schrader directed back in 1981. That's right, Zach. Cat.
That's right.
Cat. A woman who turns into a leopard when she falls in love and then eats the person she loves. I thought it was romantic. Romance right there, Zach. Nastasia was perfect for that role. Casting
Perfect
her made that movie a success. Malcolm McDowell as your brother was also a good call. He's like a panther even without any of that special Hollywood makeup. Now the name Malcolm McDowell rings another bell. You know the movie I'm talking about, right, Zach?
Clockwork Orange? There we go.
Malcolm McDowell, come on, it's pretty obvious. Blue Thunder. Came out in 1983. It was directed by John Batten. Malcolm plays the bad guy in that one. He just totally outshines the hero, Roy Scheider. At least I think so. I have to say, not many people agree with me about Blue Thunder.
I'd love to just drive along saying how I like this movie and everyone thinks I'm stupid for it.
Just speak your mind.
York, you have the worst fucking taste in movies. He's one of those guys that likes a load of really shit movies and thinks that that's like, you know, really special and unique.
Uh-huh.
Just regular unleaded, love. Fill her up. Perfect for getting the car washed. $5 a gallon. I think we should go to the the yard and smoke a dart. Finally, York seems to be the exactly kind of guy who'd rave to you about David Lynch, but for copyright reasons he can't. Exactly. You know, swear he didn't want to show his hand. I'm starting to wonder why I bothered filling the car up, given that I'm just going to drive it back to the diner that I was basically inside of already. This reminds me of a movie by David Lynch. Maybe, yeah, York just thinks all these movies are legit good. You'd think that, like, once or twice he'd mention a movie that was action. You know, the old Superman movies are fine. I haven't seen them since I was a really little kid, so I remember. I know my dad likes them, which usually like a sign that they're not good. Cheers. Right, time to do a Phantom Pain.
You're not bothering with Adrenaline?
No, I can't imagine. I mean, it depends. If people want to watch me do side quests to get a car, Or we can go.
No, if you want to just get straight to.
I want to
the
do
action.
the story now that I've got an infinite machine gun.
All right.
This is a heavy cigarette.
Heavy
okay?
tar.
These are heavy. Where are my police brand cigarettes? Yeah, my old ones were police brand. Smoking in my mind. Is the fucking head in the background's moving? Feels like a worse version of the joke from the X-Files where Mulder's favorite movie is Plan 9 from Outer Space. I remember a friend of mine made me watch that and was like, oh, it's so bad it's good. And I have to respectfully disagree.
Yeah.
It's so bad it's bad.
Not like The Room. It's just.
It's got a few moments which are funny because, like, you know, the dialogue's like really crap or whatever.
Like, yeah.
But it's like, yeah, it's mostly just really bad.
Starving after having smoked for 9 hours. Yep.
Yeah, what's my, oh yeah, my food meter is pretty low. What can I eat? Jar of pickles?
Jar of pickles.
Oh, some fish, that does look good. Probably get some better food than, all this shite. Root beer effectively fends off sleep.
Holy fuck.
Fuck me.
Drinking a single root beer is like a full night's sleep to this guy.
You drank your drink down in one. I have to defend Ed Wood. We stand across. No, Ed Wood's movies are there are good ones. Plan 9 is just like, it's not even bad in like, it's not bad in a good way. It's just bad in a bad way. Hi, Nick.
Can you go away so I can talk to your wife about you? He observes. Oh. The beard's grown out a bit more.
all that cigarettes and root beer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now into the
Time to light up another one.
Things will kill you, you know.
Oh, hello.
Fancy meeting you here. My suit's the same color as that door.
Well then, Olivia, talk to me.
Yes. In the beginning, Nick only went to the gallery during the day, but he went so often at some point he became friendly with Diane. They started going out drinking together, and now he doesn't come home until early morning. He always says that they were only drinking when I ask. He blames me for not being able to talk about Turner and Rembrandt, which of course I can't, can I? So what can I say?
Yeah, she can't just Google
Finally, I couldn't
the talking
take it
points to
anymore,
bring up about
so
Turner and
I
Rembrandt.
followed him. He did go to the bar, to start with. Diane was there too, but the real problem is where they go to next, right?
Go to next.
So I waited outside the bar to see where they might go. And they eventually left the bar and headed for the art gallery. But it was already early morning, but it was still dark. Just before going inside, Diane turned around. It should have been too dark to see me, but I swear, her eyes looked right at me.
Eyes independent of her.
Yeah, her eyes
The
looked
rest
at
of
me.
her looked
I was
right
so
at.
rattled that I left and went
Eyes
home.
looked at me, which is weird because normally her
The
nose
next
looks
day,
at me.
Anna was found dead. I didn't know what to do.
Like a grapple hug.
Lift her right over your shoulder, just do a
I
hip
went
throw.
to the gallery to talk with Diane about it, to confront her. But once I was there, I couldn't find the courage to go through with it. Then I saw you there, and I just felt I had to go home. Nick has been
Like
seeing
being in a
me
nightmare you
every
can't wake
night
up from.
recently. He just left for tonight too. I really don't know what to do.
York, we ought to take Nick in for questioning.
No, not yet. This alone isn't enough.
Emily, answer me.
This is Emily. Agent York is with me, too.
I've just received word from Thomas at the Sheriff's Department. Something has happened at Becky's house.
Something has happened.
Something has been reported.
We have no further details. I've sent Thomas over there. Can you go back him up?
Yes.
Don't worry, I've got a machine gun now.
One other thing. It sounded like he said, Raincoat Killer. This may well be related to the murder case. Take all due precautions.
No! It couldn't be! Nick? Oh, please, no! What can I do? Nick!
Olivia.
What a downpour!
Emily,
we should mention we just saw Nick literally 2 minutes ago.
Yeah.
She lives in the big house over by the lake. Hurry!
I just hope this isn't anything serious. Damn it, Zach. We may have screwed up during the investigation.
I went and shot all those ghosts in that
We should
tunnel.
have been just smoking a cigarette all day.
Yeah, I loved as soon as it started raining, like the frame rate just drops even further. There are some games on the PlayStation which run buttery smooth and look really great, and then every game that wasn't coded native to the PlayStation runs like pure ass.
Becky's house is by the lake.
Like a rain filter just applied to the camera.
I think it might be, right, how are we getting there? House by the lake. Drive out this way and then up. Let's take there. Like it might do, yeah. Right.
Right, can we go on some more movies?
Hang on. Am I driving the right way to get out of town? Yeah, I am. Okay. Yeah. Let's fucking discuss. I don't know. Some Ed Wood movies. Which what Ed Wood movies have you seen? I've seen.
Zero. I've seen the movie Ed Wood. That's it.
I've seen Glen or Glenda. I've seen. I've forgotten the one. I forgot what it's called, but it's like set in a house where there's a guy called like Dr. Acula.
Yeah.
Who is like some kind of like psychic. I've seen Plan 9. I've seen the one that was the one where he had like Bela Lugosi as like Frankenstein, I think.
Really? Worst movie you've ever seen? Oh, the next one will be better.
The next one will be better. I don't know whether it's an apocryphal story or not, but like apparently like Bela Lugosi like turned up to one of like the shooting, like one of the like days of shooting one of those movies, and was like fucking out of his gourd. And like the dialogue line he had to deliver was, "Don't worry, he is as harmless as a kitten." But apparently Lugosi decided that the line should be, "He is as harmless as kitchen," and wouldn't say it the right way. And they just had to fucking like roll with it. And so if you watch that movie, it's like the sound quality gets a bit worse because they were trying to mask the fact that Lugosi just would not do the right line. But I think he's as harmless as a kitchen is pretty funny. That's a nice phrase, I think.
Music track is nice.
Yeah. I can't talk about movies though.
Yeah.
York's like, you know what? Now isn't the time to be discussing my fucking dog shit taste in movies.
Like, this is like longer than any drive in a GTA game. I was crossing the entire world and there's just nothing.
All the police cars say sheriff on them, but surely, like, they're not all driven by the sheriff.
Sheriff department.
Oh. Well, right. Wanted that medal. I may yet get it.
Got an hour 20 to...
Right. Go in like the U.S. Marshal.
Say, guy.
Quint.
Becky. I'm sorry. That's all he would say since I got here. Quint, tell me, what did you see in there?
On the serious
Put on my serious face.
If was
Maybe I shouldn't be wearing my heart tie.
It'd be great if one thing they didn't steal from Twin Peaks. There's no like scene for.
Thomas, did you see Nick here?
What's her face's funeral? Whereas for Laura's funeral in Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
It'd be great if you could turn up to a funeral in a pink suit.
Pink suit with hearts on the tie.
Yeah.
Call George and tell him to get over here. And wait out here. I'm going inside. Once they both get here, follow George's orders, okay?
Yes. But Agent York, isn't it dangerous to go in there alone?
Don't worry. Zach is with me.
Zach is with me. I'm
Zach,
taking my friends Heckler and Cock.
I need to clear my head so I can take everything in.
That's because Twin Peaks cared about Laura, but Deadly Premonition only cares about York. Yeah, pretty much.
I was also wondering whether it might be one of the things where it's like it'd be too difficult to render an outdoor scene with all those characters. The game runs bad enough.
Jesus, they really let the place go.
Zach, they're here too. I had a nasty feeling about this.
Like they went for the town hall scene instead of a funeral scene to sort of like bring all the characters together.
Yeah, and even that, like they had to spread them out across multiple rooms. Right, yeah, infinite machine gun.
Fire a few off. Confidence up.
Look how the fucking clip size.
Oh yeah, twice. Like not only is it infinite, but also the clip
I
size
pressed the wrong button.
It's twice as big as the non-infinite one, so.
No. Be gone.
We still have another 1,000 more of those animations to go.
Yeah. Don't spare me a minute of this.
Yeah, this is.
Whoops. First aid kit medium. Nothing.
Sweet epic.
Oh yeah, well, you know, much like in a Resident Evil game, you can't just walk over this. It'd be rude. So I'm gonna have to go and.
Too much exertion. They don't pay me enough.
Yeah. Like some Alan Wake music.
Zach, that's a strange coincidence. Look. Red velvet. Just like the place where Anna was
He
murdered.
wore red velvet. Why does he look so fucking perplexed by everything?
There we go.
Don't worry, I'm open it. Like he taps his collarbone or something, whatever he's thinking.
Yeah, like his off his tie.
Too much noise. We're still missing a vital piece of the puzzle.
Or two vital. It's usually the case.
3 vital pieces of the puzzle.
Oh.
Yeah, I do like you can just take a nap.
The code killer to tuck you in.
Oh. Okay.
Oh, this one. Wait. Fire like over 1,000 rounds downrange.
What you can do when you've got an infinite ammo machine gun. I'm glad it's got like a silencer basically as well.
You can run into the door and slam it open. You should be able to run into locked doors and just bounce off them.
Yeah.
Ridiculous frame rates.
I think rather than all these like pointless cutscenes, the director's cut should have added a few more frames to the game. Maybe just 1 or 2, you know.
Remember there was E3 show once where someone promoting something, like promoting a new gen of consoles, probably the PS5 gen, was boasting about how how good the specs were, and they said that it would be able to reach crazy frame rates. It's like you don't want the frame rate to be crazy.
Yeah.
Like
I don't want these.
I want it to be fairly steady.
So much of the game's levels have the feel of a Unity store asset flips from 2016. A lot of the game in general sort of feels that way. What?
Oh.
Ouch. Ow. That fire. Yeah.
Did anyone watch Jeff Keighley's Summer Games Fest last night?
Oh man. Okay, yeah, let's yap about the game Summer Games Fest a little bit. Final Fantasy Revelations, boring name, but like I'm excited. Revelation or whatever, you know, one of those names. Boring name, but I'm pumped for it. I can't wait.
You open that?
Yeah, the Gundam game looked kind of interesting. I do like mechs, and it apparently has you fighting aliens, which I don't think they do in any of the Gundam games. Well, I mean, you know, not non-human aliens. You know, technically, everyone, I guess, born in space is like a alien to Earth. What else?
Godzilla and Evangelion coming to Sonic Racing
Yeah,
Crossworlds?
fucking yeah,
Excited?
Evangelion and Sonic Crossworlds. We were screaming at that.
Especially when it started with like year 1, and they talked and a brief flashing of all the crossovers they had so far, of which we were unaware.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, I guess they're gonna put Avatar in Sonic Racing. Nope, it's already there. I haven't played it for a little while. I keep meaning to. I think Dom, you play Sonic Racing Crossworlds. We should play some together.
They couldn't use Reunion because they already used it for Crisis Core, I'm afraid. So
yeah,
screwed themselves over.
I think
one.
Oh god, I think they should have called it
Over the next 2 months, the
Origins Chronicles.
Okay. They announced Guild Wars 3.
Yeah, which could be
Precious
good.
Little was shown.
Could be
Like
good.
A
could
cutscene.
could be shite. Who
One of those
knows?
early announcements where it's like the cutscene looked kind of naff, but it tells you nothing. There have been great games that were announced with naff cutscenes, so whatever. I was a big fan of Guild Wars 1. I was not all a fan of Guild Wars 2.
So 3 could,
I'm hoping this will be
could go either way.
I'm hoping the odd number ones are good. Although exciting news about Guild Wars 3, by the way. For the first time ever, there will be a guild war.
There'll be a war between guilds.
You may not believe it, but in Guild Wars 1 and 2, there are no guild wars.
There are no guilds, there are no wars.
They take place thousands of years after the guild wars.
Lollipop. I do not need lollipops.
New Raider game.
Yeah,
Robot game.
that looks fine, but like when I saw a gun in it, I immediately was like, ugh. You know, I am very crotchety about this. I see a lot of, and I know I'm playing a game with guns in it right now, but I see guns in games these days and I'm just like, I instantly start like groaning, unless it's like a franchise that I'm already kind of interested in.
I'm also a little crotchety about it, but I do think it's also kind of interesting because it's almost a sign of a departure for Ueda from...
Yeah, he hasn't
like,
made
I
games with like that much explicit combat in it since Eco.
Like Eco and Last Guardian, you can sort of view as sort of like almost like a spiritual sequel. Like it's the same kind of gameplay, you know, like sort of like 3D light platforming puzzle gameplay, you know.
Yeah.
Shadow of the Colossus is a bit more combat-y, but kind of light on it, obviously, 'cause it's only 16 enemies in the whole game.
Yeah.
But it looked like the protagonist was using their gun to sort of just like scare away things that were chasing the vehicle you were on.
Yeah.
So yeah, who knows how it might turn out. However, it is the first announcement of an Ueda game, so look forward to that in 10 years' time.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, the fucking Last Guardian was announced for the PlayStation 3, and then didn't come out until the PS4, and then loads of people hated it.
When it was actually really good.
Yeah, well, like, it's one of those things that, you know, like, Stephanie Sterling has, like, you know, has generally sort of good, you know, I think I probably agree with her on a lot of, like, things like gacha and microtransactions, but opinions on that game, I was just like, you could not have missed the point more profoundly. I don't think so. There's more bad takes than good. I don't really keep up to you know, keep up with a lot of like YouTube critics or reviewers or anything.
What else was there? There was a lot of bad stuff. There
well,
was like
on the topic of like guns, that game that was just like, oh, it's two military people and they're like crawling over rocks and they have like those tactical gear. I saw that and then I was instantly like, there's nothing there's no way I'm going to be interested in this. And then people started exploding into mutants and I thought like, if they'd have led with this, I might have been interested. But I saw the fucking stupid little military helmet and the you know, machine guns, and I was just like, I don't give a shit about
really
this.
Boring army of two.
Yeah. I loved Last Guardian, but you know, I think a lot of people hated it because they didn't get it.
People that didn't really want to engage with what it was putting out, didn't like it. The Wolf Among Us too. If there's any Wolf Among Us fans out there?
Oh yeah. I love that they announced The Wolf Among Us 2, and they said, but in the meantime, go and play the first one, you pig.
Yep. Yeah.
Now we can go through this door. Hey.
Oh yeah, the Assassin's Creed 1 guy who's made a new game that looks like a new Assassin's Creed. And he opens with David Lynch once said, and it's like,
Get his name out of your mouth.
Someone's setting off fireworks outside. Obviously excited about this too.
See you.
Oh shit! I need to find a hiding place or something.
Oh fuck! It's frame rate, the double rendering.
There's no fucking way this works.
You had like the same color as the ground. It's working.
Camo index.
Yeah.
This will be so fucking funny if this works.
And tomorrow we've got the Xbox conference and the PC gaming show coming. It's like E3 but a bit less exciting because not all at the same time, and you don't have like Nintendo, and the announcements are kind of a bit napper.
Yeah. Then I actually thought there were more interesting things in the Day of the Devs bit after. Like the Apple Crumble game looked really interesting. I like the art style of that, and Bub also looked really cute.
Yeah. All like the indie titles looked way more interesting than
like
most
the
of the big
AAA
games
titles.
Especially since most of them were just cinematics. Like Code Veronica being remade is sort of interesting, but we know nothing about it apart from the delightful biscuit. Which tells us nothing.
The ukulele racing game, does look fun, but it also, I'm just like, I can just go and play the first Mario Kart game.
Yeah, it looked like it was
I didn't
sort
like
of
the
like
art style of it. Yeah, like the pixel filter that was placed over the characters, but not the environment, made the art style look a bit like, I don't know. Like, I get what they're going for, but I don't know. I
don't know why these segments are so long. Like you could do anything.
Yeah.
All you have to do is just wait and press R2.
I guess you can get out of your hiding place.
But it says no downside to just staying.
He can fucking clearly see me from across the room.
Must be a dead body down there.
Go make a cup of tea. Well, you can't because you need to be ready to press R2.
Guess it was nothing.
Help
me! Big ones. I think the big ones were Resident Evil the opener and closer as they usually are. So Resident Evil, Code Veronica, and Final Fantasy 7.
Oh yeah, and the Like a Dragon. Ryuga Gotoku Studios. Like
they're exhuming Tupac.
Yeah,
we
were just laughing at that because we're like, like Snoop Dogg was like, we want to make this, like we're gonna make our own game studio, but also I guess RGG are gonna put Tupac in something. And I was just thinking like what if it was you that was shot and then Tupac was on stage here? Would you be happy that they're puppeting your corpse to make money? It's a good sign that the biggest announcements are remakes of 20-year-old games.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Listen, for me the biggest announcement was the cutscene of Guild Wars 3.
I mean, the biggest, like I said, the announcements for me that were interesting are Gundam
versus Aliens,
Gen Atlas, which could come out for the PS6 maybe.
Yeah. By PS7. I'll hold until then.
And then Final Fantasy, which is a remake.
They're doing another. No, this is the Sony thing was 2 days ago because they're doing another God of War. Big who cares on that one?
God of War, I don't give a shit about. I think it's very funny that it's become part of like the online like culture war thing, because it is just like right wingers are currently, they're like two big icons at the moment, are a pink-haired like girl who looks like she has pronouns from Ace Combat 8, and then the extremely androgynous looking character who's going to be in the new Stellar Blade game. And the character that they are railing against is the fucking Nordic woman who wants to be a mother, who just wants to go back to being a housewife or whatever.
Yeah, the Stellar Blade game, but like
Stellar Blade game, I was like,
this is a Stellar Blade game. Pretty much as soon as you see a character model.
Yeah, no, yeah, that was the thing. Like as soon as we saw it, you were like, I don't want to stereotype, but I bet this game is Korean. And then it's like, you were fucking right. Like, why can you not climb down? And yeah, like as soon as like the character started punching, I was like, oh, this might be cool. This might like actually not suck. But you know, fool me twice on that one, because I played the demo for Stellar Blade and it was boring as hell.
By the way, not just to talk about the gameplay for a moment here, it is great that this dungeon is literally just the same as the last dungeon, but with a change of wallpaper. Like,
yeah, a root beer, and those are useful.
And I'm pretty sure there's like 5 more like this as well.
Yeah,
or more.
But yeah, no, like, you know, if the punching and stuff is fun, you know, the new Stellar Blade game might be good. Because I know that the Stellar Blade devs, like, you know, except for the fact that their CEO is like a fucking big AI twat.
Yeah.
But like, you know, they can make, you know, modern looking games, and they clearly have some understanding of like how, you know, of like they have some aesthetic sensibilities, because they knew to steal stuff from Nier Automata.
Yeah.
And you know, the gameplay, if it's fun, then it might be good. But at the same time, like, Stellar Blade looks fancy, and then you actually play it, and it's like, it's extremely dull. Bloody camisole.
Oh, actually no. Other than Guild Wars 3, the biggest announcement for me is there's a pod racing game coming out featuring Sebulba as the main antagonist.
Your favorite guy,
yeah.
Sebulba, yeah.
Like,
got a bloody camisole.
I don't love Star Wars games, but pod racing, hello. That's one that I'm interested in.
The AI Goon Company are not going to make a game with tight, unique combat like God Hand. They're probably not, no. But if they know what they're doing, then they will steal God Hand's homework.
But yeah, since the PC gaming show is tomorrow, I hope everyone's looking forward to Half-Life 3 being released in less than 24 hours time.
I have a moot on Twitter who is fucking delusional about Half-Life 3. I remember around this time last year, he was fucking convinced Half-Life was going to be announced at the Summer Games Fest.
And going to be released within the year.
And it was, yeah, it was going to be announced, and it was going to be released within the year, before the end of the year. Well, obviously that never happened. But like she's just like, well, yeah, but like we data mine. There's been data mining. There's leaks. It is in active development. Yeah. We know this for a fact.
We know it's being made.
And it's like, no, you don't know that for a fact. You're inferring that it must be in development from like extremely circumstantial evidence involving like, you know,
file name.
Yeah, file names, code snippets which don't appear to be connected to any current ongoing project at Valve.
Like,
what if instead of Half-Life 3 they made the F-Stop Portal game? Yeah, they should, because that sounds like it would be really interesting, because it was like to do with time, right?
Hold on.
But like Valve have been working on like a lot of sequels, like a lot, and then stopped working on them. Like Left Dead 3 was one that was in development, and then it was no longer in development. Like, you know, having been worked on is no sign of it's definitely coming out. Like, I think the people that like are you know, believers in this, they think of game developers essentially like a sausage factory. In that a game starts development and then it's just on a conveyor belt towards release, and there's nothing that can stop it. You know. Whoops. And not only is that not true for more standard game developers, but Valve is like this sort of like flat development structure where anyone can work on anything if they feel like it.
Yeah.
You know, so things get picked up and then dropped all the time.
Yeah, and exactly, I agree, Dom. We already had Half-Life 3. It was called Alex.
Nobody played it, by the way.
Yeah, nobody played it.
And, like, it seems that the message from Alex was that Valve are probably only going to look more into the Half-Life universe if they think they can do something interesting with it, like try and make their first VR, like, designed to be VR game, you know? And credit to them, Half-Life Alex is probably, like, for me, one of, if not the best, like, full VR game. Not just a tech demo, it's a full game. And it was made to be VR from, like, the ground up, so it has some really cool mechanics, especially with gravity gloves that were made to be played in VR.
It's what's really funny is that my friend who is, like, crazy about Half-Life insists that, like, the next Half-Life game is going to be the greatest game ever made. It's going to change everything. Yeah. And it's going to have gravity puzzles. Like, imagine gravity puzzles. It's going to change that. No game has done that before.
What's the name of this, like, orchestral sting that's in 1,000 Things when something...
Oh, I don't know. That that, like, orchestra sting. Dun-dun. But yeah, is convinced that the next Half-Life game is going to change fucking everything, but also, you know, is like, I'm like, well, why didn't you play Alex? Oh, it's too expensive to get VR. Sure, but if this is like the thing you think is going to change the whole gaming industry, wouldn't you save up for it and have got one by now? It's been years.
There are also like
shit.
There are mods now to convert it to not VR, which is a less good experience, but you know.
Yeah.
I assume for those people just watching the cutscenes on YouTube is enough for that kind of experience.
Cut that wire. We must get her to the hospital immediately.
Anyway,
don't cut that wire.
What are you doing? Get out of the way. I'll do it.
But the other thing is that the only other actual recent official word on Half-Life 3 was from like the Half-Life.
Why is he cutting wire with a pair of pliers?
Could be the kind of pliers that have a wire cutting bit indent on the inside.
What the fuck?
Saw trap.
But how did that work?
But yeah, the most recent official word we've had on it is from the Half-Life 2 documentary that came out like a few years ago for the whatever anniversary of Half-Life 2. Where they acknowledged how I think Newell himself acknowledged that it was a fairly big mistake for them back then to sort of drop development on Half-Life 2 Episode 3. Because they thought it would just be like, oh, we'll drop it for a second while we work on other stuff, and then we just never picked it back up. And they basically completely lost momentum with the series after that. And I think, yeah, that's basically all that was said on the matter. Yeah, none of them thought to grab her. They were just like, damn, I guess she's been preordained to die here.
Yeah, no one thought to kind of fucking do anything about this woman dying in front of us.
Like, you know, if somebody's being strangled by their own weight like that, you can just try and grab their legs and lift them, you know, to release the pressure.
Well, there's your problem. She ate a key.
The full dose of key.
Anyone for key lime pie? That doesn't make any sense, York.
But yeah, the idea of Half-Life 3 these days is, for most people, is just a meme. And
Yeah.
For a small, deluded group of people, it's going to revolutionize the entire gaming industry without any basis in reality. Like,
Yeah.
why would it do?
Well, I just think it's really funny how it's going to revolutionize the gaming industry because it's going to have gravity puzzles in it. And I'm just like,
Well,
that sounds like the most boring shit imaginable.
I've seen people claim various things, that it's going to be open world, and it's going to be, you know, the open world game that finally works out how to do it properly without just making a bunch of fucking, you know, splattered all over the map, all that kind of thing. But you know, for those people, it is just sort of like the MacGuffin off in the distance, the game that will solve gaming.
Yeah. I mean, I always say, we're just going to leave her like that, I guess.
Oh yeah, you know, wait for the coroner to come.
The thing I always say is that the worst thing that Half-Life 3 could do at this point is come out, because it can only disappoint people. It can never live up to the hype that they've been building up in their mind. Like, it would be kinder to them for it to never come out than to disillusion them with Valve, which they, you know, a lot of people attribute a sort of like almost deific status.
Yeah, the other thing is the writing on the wall is that Valve is not the company it used to be. And also the company it used to be was not. You know, they made a couple of good games, but you don't have to sort of,
my dear sister,
call them the best company that ever existed.
So sorry.
And the way the company is structured is interesting and sort of unique in the business. Other than that, like,
I don't have the words to apologize to Anna.
Who wrote this?
Becky, I guess.
B.
Yeah, there she is, the ghost.
She was suffering so much, and I just ran away.
I guess she knew she was about to be killed.
To kill me. But I'm not going to let him get
But then the killer tore out the page.
I followed him after he was finished. He carried Anna into the woods.
Yeah, anything
Anna was holding on to that
No.
precious locket.
Apart from the key.
He couldn't remove it from her hand, even though she was dead. But she let go of it for me, though.
But yeah, the reason that Valve can have that sort of is that they're funded by the most extensive marketplace on the PC gaming market around, and they have essentially a monopoly on
PC gaming
distribution of and they reap hefty
town.
rewards for it. They charge a hefty premium for anyone who wants to put the games on that
marketplace. So I've asked Isaac and Isaiah to
Mm.
deliver it.
They're not like the cute little quirk chungus company that you can't do no wrong anymore.
I believe so too. She looked so beautiful, as though she might smile back at any moment. I have something else to confess to you. I borrowed a pair of your shoes without asking and broke the heel on one of them. I'll send them along with the locket.
I have something else to confess to, besides murder or like watching someone die. Is I broke one of your shoes. Sorry.
Whoopsie. Yeah, I'll pay you.
Whoopsie poopsie.
So Becky is Miss Stiletto Heel.
And she gave the locket to the twins. Must be the special secret Lily told us about, Zach.
We'd better go and see her first thing tomorrow.
SB. Sad bastard.
Is there any need to close that? Isn't that sort of another evidence thing? Can we just leave it open?
That would be Diane. Didn't you know Diane and Becca were sisters?
I should have known, Zach. We're all family here.
These inbred yokels.
Anyway, here's the purple sandwich again.
Fucking web-toed silage heaps.
But yeah, to get on my anti-Valve shit, if you look at the recent stuff that Valve has done, I love Deadlock, which is their most recent thing. But if you look at what they've actually put out there that's like out and not just a playtest, what they mainly do nowadays is they sell gambling.
Yeah, they sell gambling and they own a storefront which has such a monopoly on PC gaming that the fact that Gen Atlas is going to be a an Epic Game Store exclusive, has people fucking up in arms.
Yeah.
Because it's daring to challenge the monopoly on gaming that Valve have.
Yeah,
they're supposed to be the ones who
not
who have every fucking game on their storefront.
They own not just a material monopoly, but a cultural monopoly over it, in that there's a huge portion of the audience of these games that think it is like a virtue to be on Steam.
Yeah, like that's
rather than just a sort of economic necessity.
That's one of the things I don't understand is like, you know, oh, it's going to be on the Epic Game Store? Well, yeah, but like, just fucking get the Epic Games launcher, buy it through that storefront. Like, what does it fucking make a difference to you?
This like controversy has happened like 1,000 times before with various popular games that were first released on the Epic Game Store. Like, I played Outer Wilds on the Epic Game Store because it came out for that first on PC, and then came out on Steam a year later. And people have always been up in arms every time it happened.
Thomas, did you see Nick here?
Yeah.
No. When I got
Yeah, Steam stands are baffling because of the payment providers.
Yeah,
stuff.
Steam they fold just like any
Steam
distribution platform.
Oh, I forgot the fucking name of it, but Steam recently removed there was a game that was going to be out on Steam. It was like a BL visual novel, and it just it got axed, and the developer who was making it basically said like, yeah, it's because payment providers put pressure on them to get rid of a queer visual novel, and they just caved to it immediately.
I think it was like from the day Anna was killed,
Rebecca,
man.
Bandit Keith
That's
over
right.
here.
She was
Bandit Keith.
totally depressed about something.
Quint called for her to let us know she wasn't coming in for work.
In fact, just
She must have been
one more
totally
thing, just
in
this
shock,
last week,
the poor thing.
that story dropped on
So you took
various
the
news
twins along,
websites
did
about
you,
how
or-
like a Valve
That's right,
developer talked about how the one time
only
that
I knew
Gabe
it
said
would be like
in a
this.
meeting
I've
when
spent more
talking to a
time
lawyer
talking to
who
her.
suggested they should do some
told me
content
about a
moderation on
special
their
secret
platform,
between your
and
children
he
and Becky.
replied, "That's your opinion,
Yes,
then
of
what the
course.
fuck do I
What
hire you
about it?
for?" And a bunch of
seems Becky
fucking
handed
Valve
them an item
fanboys came
before
out
she
being
was
like,
killed.
"Oh, based Gabe, who's against
idea what that
censorship,
might
that kind
be?
of thing."
Now
Right,
that you
but let's look at the
mention
material reality.
They had a box
They did
about
fold
this
and
size,
start
which they
just
said was
doing
very
content
important.
moderation when a payment processor was like,
That's it.
"Do this," and they're like, "Yes, sir."
Yeah, okay.
Talk to them about this in person.
Yeah,
you
turns
know,
out
when Mastercard
fucking-
says jump, Valve
Then
says
when
how
I
high.
actually
Like,
Mr. Casey
Well, yeah, like Valve
They said
apparently
they were
doesn't
going
even
to
ask
visit
how high; they
Greendale
just start
Forest
jumping.
Park today.
yeah.
They were going to take Willie for a walk. That dog of his.
Kaysen, do you know him well?
Oh yeah, he's a good guy. He always brings us gifts.
Steam
for his
manages
road
to be the
trips.
only launcher
kids
that isn't
love him,
unpleasant
so
to
we let him
use.
take them out every once in a while.
Hard disagree. I don't
know,
like
for a
Steam.
little
I find
I
it
mean-
very awkward to find any of the options you want or need.
But
I
the
like Steam more than I
situation
like
has serious. I'll go and look for them myself.
Epic Game Store in
If they
terms of
come home
UI.
without running
I
into
don't
you,
like
could
it
you
more
let us
than
know?
Good Old Games
Sure,
launcher
of
because
course. I'll contact the department.
Good Old Games has their own launcher called Galaxy. What's good about Good Old Games is that you
Where?
just get the file DRM free.
Mm.
And you can launch it from your desktop if you feel like it. So
Yeah,
don't even
you
need
can.
the
I think
UI.
you can install Steam games, or you can go and launch them without going through the Steam launcher.
yeah, but
Sally.
if the developer has installed DRM on
Yeah.
it, they'll make it so it checks through Steam
Anna's
first
mother?
before it will launch. It's like
She's
tied to the
acting
Steam
up
launcher.
again. She's been like that ever since she heard the news.
We've been yapping
What exactly is she doing?
over the story, but
I don't think there's been really any huge
Got no
developments
idea,
here.
but I guess
This
she's
is
in like
Twin Peaks,
shock
but
or
less
something.
going on.
Way
Like,
I
Yeah.
look at it, her daughter's death hasn't
Laura
really
Palmer
sunk in the right
equivalent had a
way.
friend.
Totally, man.
But in
Feel
this,
sorry
she dies
for
as
her.
well, rather than being like
go.
traumatized.
Lily, have you seen Anna's dress, dear? I can't find it anywhere.
Zach, the
You
wheels
just-
are turning, but
Thank you.
not in the right way.
Anyway, so Half-Life 3 is coming out tomorrow. Get excited. all will be forgiven, I'm sure.
yeah, it's gonna have gravity puzzles in it.
Yeah.
Like that's gonna blow your mind so much. You're gonna cry.
We're finally gonna find out what was going on the Borealis. They're gonna here's the other problem with if they ever made Half-Life 3 or Half-Life 2 Episode 3 as they planned it, is they'd finally have to broach the connection between the Portal universes and the Half-Life universe,
Isaac
which
and
to me is the
Isaiah are
nuclear
here.
button.
Mm.
Do not do
Yeah,
it because there's
Casey.
nothing good that can come
Let's
from
go
it.
look for them.
No.
it makes both
case
universes less interesting.
Sounds like a long story.
It's funny that
Any
they
ideas where to start
happen like
looking?
they reference
Lily
each
told me where
other
they went.
or like reference each other happening, but the actual like idea of bringing them into the same continuity
Yeah.
is like just death. Because
It's a fine idea insofar as GLaDOS being insecure and making fun of Black Mesa is funny. And that's
Mm.
where the joke should end.
yeah, well, because they're just so tonally different. Anyway, I'm gonna save here and
oh yeah, sure.
probably,
It's
yeah.
midnight.
Yeah, it's getting late.
Sorry,
I'm
I
gonna
can-
go
I
and
can-
fiddle with emulators a bit more. I was trying to get a Sega Saturn emulator to work.
Yeah.
But all the key bindings were all out of Goose.
I'm gonna get off my soapbox talking about how Valve is so bad and play Deadlock.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope you've had a fun few hours. I will catch you when I catch you all. Nothing more to say. I think I got it all off our chest.
No,
The
not
last
really.
couple-
Valve will redeem themselves if they confirm that Seven from Deadlock was in a toxic yaoi relationship with Kelvin from Deadlock, which has been teased so far, but we're waiting for confirmation on that.
Nice. I was gonna say I might play second, but I'll probably do that tomorrow. Now I think I'm a bit too drunk. I wanna go and play old Sega Saturn games. Good night.
Bye.
Bye bye.